Political turmoil has been brewing in 2016, with Donald Trump's aggressive rhetoric towards China, the growth of discontent in Europe ahead of key elections in some of the biggest economies, and Brexit. But there's other troubles ahead as well that nobody is talking about, which are cyber wars, military spending, and even Twitter battles that could derail global stability. Klisman Murati from Global Risk Insight is here with me now. So, cyber, Klisman, why is this such a concern then?
Cyber is a very interesting topic and something I've researched as well, and it's a passion of mine to speak about. Cyber investment in the last decade has dramatically increased. We see billions and billions of dollars and pounds in Europe being spent in cyber. As an example, Britain has just invested, I think, 265 million pounds into their cyber defense infrastructure. Russia, in comparison, are investing $250 million per year on cyber. So they promise to be the world leader in cybersecurity and have plans to develop such infrastructure to take out essential infrastructure in their opposing nations who go against them. And also space and cybersecurity is something that I research and write about a lot. And the investment in space technology by the British is going up to 1.1, I think, billion pounds investment into that alone.
Why? Are we preparing for a cyber war?
But now, when you say cyber war, you think of Star Wars, you think of these type of stuff. Cyber warfare as such is yet to be defined, the boundaries are yet to be defined. But what we see with the hacks with Yahoo and with Sony, these are just glimpses of what could be in the future. A lot of what happens behind closed doors. You know, defenses are really hard to spot and really hard to find out who's done what. It's easier for the attacking party because they need to find only one window open in the architecture of defense, but the defender needs to make sure all walls are secure. So a lot of money has been pumped into it, and cyber warfare, in whichever way you want to understand it, is happening because all this money has been pumped into it for very necessary reasons.
Okay, and what else have we got? So we've got political turmoil in Europe,
Yes.
We've got Brexit,
Yes.
We've got Trumponomics,
Yes.
And you said military spending too.
Military spending is also something we need to watch out for because the traditional idea of political risk is understanding what's happening physically with the people, what's happening with regime change around the world. Syria is also, and Iraq is a hotbed of trouble there. If you see military expenditure as such, we see as percentage of GDP, the country which is investing most as a percentage of their GDP is surprisingly the Saudi Arabia. They're spending, I think, 10%. 10.4% of their GDP is going into defense. Compare that to the UAE, which is 5%, Russia, which is 4%, 4.1%. The UK has vowed to keep their 2% spending on GDP with NATO, and the Americans at 3% also. So the major nations around the world are gearing up and they're spending a lot of money on defense, physical defense, because warfare in cyberspace only works for those who have the capability to actually defend themselves in cyberspace. But boots on the ground and machinery is still very necessary.
And in terms of all these political risks, what's the biggest one for the markets?
What we have before in terms of political risk, we have regional players, and risks like elections and even terrorism have been understood and have been taken into account by the market. So even when the attacks happened in Brussels earlier this year, the markets jolted, but they regained their momentum. Now we have things happening like Trump tweeting about, for example, previously where the Chinese captured a US Navy drone.
Yeah.
And he tweeted about in protest, and we see the markets in Asia just in complete volatility for the next 10 days. So if something as simple as a tweet can be used to disrupt the markets, imagine what could be the potential for this technology if more leaders start to do it. Again, if Marine Le Pen takes office in France, she starts to do the same thing. What will happen to the forex market, for example, if she starts promising things on Twitter, even though these may seem like profane little incidences, this is something much more deeper. I call it political signaling of a leader to show their intentions or to show a bluff to a potential adversary. And it's a much more high-tech, much more efficient way to disrupt the markets. So this is a new type of political risk that we'll see. The two words I think that investors have, which they hate, is uncertainty and unpredictability. Now these are the two things that we see happening mostly with this type of risk.
Okay, and all it takes is a tweet.
All it takes is 140 characters
to
flip the markets upside down.
And
now, if this is possible,
the globe.
who knows what could be possible in the future with new types of technologies coming into play.
Wow. Okay, Klisman Murati, thank you very much indeed for your time today. I very much appreciate it. Talking about the political risks that face us in 2017.